Yo, welcome to my review for Pokemon Journeys, episode 64, The Hated Absol. So immediately off the bat, something I really like is that we're getting another episode set in Hoenn. That might not seem like a huge detail, but I believe this is the first time we've had an episode set in the same region back to back other than Kanto and Galar. Of course, both this episode and last episode start in Kanto, where they set up the plot, but they swiftly gets over to Hoenn. Anyway, Hoji from a Battle Frontier episode has asked Ash and Go to look into an Absol that might be related to water from his uncle's hot springs in Hoenn drying up. I do like the thought that Ash can befriend this character of a day and actually keep in contact with them. We meet up with Hoji in Laveridge Town, so it's great to see that town, and Hoji introduces himself to Grookey and tries to handshake it, falling off his Hariyama in the process. So no one is coming to Laveridge Town because of hot springs being dried up. And that makes me raise my eyebrow a bit because, you know, there's a gym in Laveridge Town. Bet Flannery's not feeling great about that one. But as expected, people are scared of Absol as disaster seems to arise when it shows up. Something like this has happened before. But Hoji's not as worried as his uncle and the townfolk who are planning to hunt and beat the crap out of it. Go does bring up that Absol could be warning them about something, and instead of being cruel to Absol, they'll investigate it. And Hoji's uncle gives them 2 hours of time to go and find it. The source of the water is on Mount Chimney, so that's the way the boys go. And honestly, this is a little bit of a shame as Hoji stays behind to convince his uncle to give up the hunting squad. It'd be nice to see him along for a ride, because he's a decent character. Absol stops Ash and Go and ends up taking out Grookey. Blocks the path and it leaves. They find the pipes and make it to a frozen spring. Turns out there are some Glalie in the snow run. They think that the Glalie throws the mountain for snow run, and before Go can try and catch them, Absol again attacks and leaves. Ash thinks it's trying to tell them something, so Go calls Hoji to get him to check the tablet depicting the disaster, and as expected there's a frozen hot spring on it, but with the caveat of Mount Chimney erupting as well. The melting ice made steam, that caused it to erupt in the past. Absol is warning them about that clearly. So yeah, it's your standard Absol is actually a misunderstood good guy. We've seen this episode before, and you know, the one in Advanced Generation had something to do with water too, so this ain't really feeling like the most original setup for an episode. Ash and Go get to a point where they can relieve the pressure on the mountain, where a lot of build-up is, but Pikachu and Cinderace can't break up the boulder on their own. Absol shows up once more, and it looks like it will attack them, but teams up with them to hit the boulder. Absol breaks it with a headbutt as their attacks aren't fast enough, and as it does, a huge torrent of scalding hot water erupts from under the boulder and almost hits Absol. Go throws a Pokeball and captures it. Now I can already see all the arguments about this capture, so I'll start with what I liked about this moment. It's an incredibly smart way to keep Absol safe without endangering any other Pokemon. Could Cinderace have jumped in and pushed out away? Yeah, maybe, but Cinderace could have also been hurt by it too. Plus, Go immediately sends Absol out and gives it the choice to leave after thanking it. He doesn't even think that Absol wants to stay with him after he gives it the option, he just assumes there's going to be another disaster it's warning them about. But Absol stays. It goes back into the Pokeball. I think Go earned Absol's respect by helping to prevent the disaster, and saving Absol with quick thinking on the top. He earned it. He saved Absol's life. Now for the not so good. When you put Absol in the title of the episode, you'd think there'd be more of a bond between it and Go throughout the episode. This isn't a big catch spree episode, so you know, there's definitely time for it. Something like the Suicune episode was up front and had him work towards it fully accepting it as a trainer. Yeah, I think Go earned Absol, but I'd really have liked to see more between the two rather than just 2 attacks and then the team up. Maybe play up Go's doubts more about Absol, and then twist it so we come to understand each other. It'd just be more of a nicer story element. I'm not upset he got it. As a matter of fact, I'm elated. It looks so cool with Go. I just wish they handled it a smidge better. But yeah, then we get a nice wrap-up screen with everyone in the hot springs, and even a follow-up that the Gladies and Snurrants will be taken somewhere nicer. And to apologise to everyone, Hoji's uncle does the Ice Bucket Challenge. So this episode is just decent to me. Like, I don't think it's really bad in the slightest, there's just things I've done to make it better. The main one should be establishing more between Go and Absol. Absol is a titular thing about this episode, but it feels incredibly secondary to the impending disaster. Have Go be unsure of how trustworthy Absol is. It'd make being proven wrong all the sweeter, and could lead to a nice scene between the two. Secondly, let's have Hoji tag along with them, man. Why bring back a character of a day only for them to not really get to do much? Yeah, he goes to see the tablet and cover more about what happened in the past, but like, you just call his uncle and have him check that. We have someone back. It's nice continuity within this series. I prefer to see him interact with them more. I do enjoy that this feels like they're actually doing some research into some local phenomena. They're research assistants after all. So investigating why an Absol has shown up, why the hot springs have dried up, it's done pretty good and has a nice little result for everyone. Definitely not the most thrilling episode. Feels like one you can skip and not really miss out on much. Go really only gets Absol out of this, but it doesn't feel like there's any meaningful growth or anything for anyone.